So before I go to cutting up this salt cedar and charring it up, I just kind of wanted to give everybody a look at how pretty this wood is, and it's kind of a light pinkish color. I don't know what the specific gravity is of this yet, but while I'm charring this up, I'm going to see if I can't find it. And if I can't find it, then obviously when I get it charred up and processed, I'll put it in the glass jars and we can do some comparisons. So stay tuned and enjoy some of the filler material from the 2026 Santa Fe Trail Rendezvous. Beautiful area. And camp is way back there. I remember coming here 20 years ago, and this part of primitive camp was full of campers, buckskinners. 20 years later, it's completely empty. Okay, what I've pulled off the internet regarding salt cedar and the specific gravity, this is what it reads. The specific gravity of salt cedar, also known as tamarix wood, is relatively dense. It measures 0.62 in its green, freshly cut, state, and increases to 0.67 when air dried. Now I found that interesting because usually when wood loses its moisture it becomes lighter, but in the case of salt cedar it gets a little bit heavier. Okay, going on. For context, this makes salt cedar heavier and denser than most traditional conifers, putting it on par with many American hardwoods. Its density and unusual strength makes it a notoriously difficult wood to cut through and can quickly dull blades. That'd be like mesquite or juniper. And that's all I'm going to read because that's all that's pertinent to what I'm doing. Now I have 3 jars already measured out at 15 grams. I'm going to compare the salt cedar to honey mesquite, which is about 0.65, hard rock maple, which is a 0.63, and of course, as I just read, when salt cedar is dry, it's 0.67. So I'm going to get these in the relative order, and then I'll adjust the camera and you can look at these for yourself, and I'll tell you which glass jar contains which charcoal source. 2026. This is how big or how small, depending on your perspective, the camp is. And this is why I personally like checking the specific gravity as far as the charcoal source, so you get some sort of idea of how much volume-wise your charcoal source actually represents. And since we just read what the specific gravity of salt cedar should be, here's the comparison. Here's mesquite at 0.65, so you can see what that represents as far as volume is concerned, whereas if I was use weeping willow, it would occupy about this much space. So you're burning an awful lot of charcoal. when it comes to weeping willow. In the middle here is hard rock maple at 0.63, and to the far right is the salt cedar at anywhere from 0.62 to 0.67. And there you have what the volume of 15 grams of these charcoal sources represent.
You're ready. Other trigger, other trigger. I don't know where it went,
But he hit it because it's a wiggling.
okay.
Oh,
She wasn't ready.
What happened?
Okay.
You hit it.
She hit it. All right.
Did she?
Good job.
I changed this to 60, right?
Oh.
No, I wouldn't, because that's what you're going to be
You
shooting.
weren't supposed to use it in the first one.
Face on the stalk. Use your eye. They show you the picture you're supposed to be looking at. I've got that thing. Get you still going.
High left.
I saw it move and some dirt behind it.
So this is just for observation purposes. If anybody has a viable idea, a viable conclusion as to why this happened, please let us know. When my friend Broken Feather milled up his batch of salt cedar gunpowder, his batch was completely done within 19 to 21 hours. And in a very short amount of time, it was already compacting very tightly. With my experience, it did not start compacting very tightly until about 28 hours. At about 24 hours, it started compacting just a little bit on the sides, on the bottom, but not like it is now at 34 hours. And you should be able to see, you know, the chunks that are there, what's still attached to the sidewall. So if you have any idea as to why this might have occurred the way it did, I'm sure the both of us would be interested in knowing. And one thing that I will tell you, on 3 occasions after 30 hours, or right at about 30 hours, I popped the lid. This is what I observed. And I tried running this through my screen like I normally do and let the round ball break it up and pass it through my screen. This proved to be more difficult than other gunpowders that I've worked with in the past. So just an observation here, guys. So as you can see, a lot of those chunks are pretty large, and they're pretty compacted tightly. And when I finally decided to quit at 34 hours, about every 15 minutes of mill time, it was compacted like this once again. So there's no doubt in my mind that this gunpowder, the 3 components, are fully integrated.
Never do this again with a gun that's too big for kids.
You have to remember to bring it.
Hit it?
head's wiggling the target.
All right, Ed. Hold it still for us.
I hope I've been used on it. I don't know. Might have got
Thank you for continuing this. Thank you for putting this together for these kids. And for what it's worth, it's going home to a good friend of his.
I know. I think that's so
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here this week. Everybody's here. All the canvas is up. It looks wonderful over there. I will say this, y'all have the prettiest camp. And it's not close. It's beautiful, especially at night when you've got all the candles going.
Well,
it just looks good down
You
there.
also have the best dress camp,
Oh yeah, you
no
guys.
matter what the contest said.
Well, nobody
But
hit anything.
without him doing that,
I used
that quarter inch, it wouldn't have blown it up.
it was like hollow on there, so I put that 7 times strength or whatever construction glue on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put it on
It's
there.
done
did good.
really well. That's
No,
good.
Good. I'm glad it
that
held
looked
up.
great.
I was
I was
wondering.
cleaning our gun shed.
Ty, can you show it off again real quick?
Here, and I have 2
Ty, can you show it off again real quick?
Well, I was worried about
targets.
the Easter egg.
And nobody got the
Nobody
banjo.
shot the banjo.
Nothing on the,
That's awesome.
Oh, you
Nothing
know
on the
what?
can.
I would have thrown.
Nothing.
we're gonna
If
have
somebody
to
had hit the banjo, they'd have been kindly, firmly asked to leave.
Yes. Yeah.
Kids were maybe half the distance. And they were using a tripod to shoot off of as well.
And I'm the one that put the first hole in the target, and that's where I shot, right there. Close enough. If that was a deer, it'd be dead. So we've arrived, the portion of the video, to where I customarily do my test burn of what I've already corned, grained and sized, and it's my customary 2 to 3F, mostly 3F with some 4F fines mixed in it. And you may be interested in knowing, before I get out to the shooting range, of what 80 grains by weight, how much it occupies in a powder measure. And if the camera's picking everything up with the reflection of the sun, we're looking at probably about 83 grains. So I'm pretty close with the density of what a 3F would be in a powder measure. And that's without the value of the weight of the graphite. So as far as I'm concerned, my densities are like spot on as usual. And this is salt cedar once again, so I'm going to go ahead and put 30 grains on the tempered glass, ignite it, and then we'll see if we can get some sort of sense if this gunpowder is going to burn clean, going to burn dirty. And just so that you know, I've been wrong in the past before about this. I thought the burn was relatively clean, but after 5 or 6 shots going down the barrel of my flintlock, I determined it was a dirty gunpowder. So let me get the camera repositioned and light this off and see what we can note. And as you can see, we got a pretty good trail of it. Well, that went up very quick. Let's get a close-up of the glass. I'll let you guys decide for yourselves at this moment. Looking at it from the back side, I would say it's relatively clean. But I've said that before and been wrong. But running my fingers through the outer edges of the smoke, it feels pretty soft, which be expected. It's fairly clean as far as what's left behind in the smoke. But the real test should be running it through the center of the burn, because that's where most of the fouling is left, which would be typically left behind in your gun barrel. Well, it's not easily rubbing off. Here's the back side of the finger. So if I had to make an early guess, the fact that it's not rubbing off real easy would indicate to me that it's a little on the dirty side. But shooting it down my muzzleloader will tell a different story. Stay tuned. Well, obviously, we're going to do that one over. It's a little early in the morning and the angle of the sun may not be conducive for this. Well, I couldn't find that patch. I did change the angle of the chronograph just a little bit. Let's see if we can't get a better number than 22. And just in case you're curious, I am using the 4F fines in the flintlock. And the second load loaded just fine, nice and smooth. Okay, what is that, 1760, 68 maybe? I'll go get a close-up. I think it's 1760. Okay, I did find the first patch, and it's shredded. But to be expected, going down a clean barrel, it's fairly clean. I found the second patch, and yeah, there's a breeze from time to time. That's the second patch. It's dirty. Got some little tears along the edges, but it is dirty. My only regret right now is I made 200 grams, but oh well, it'll become my pistol powder. All right, I'm going to get you some more numbers. That way I've got something to compare it with. Shot number 3, loaded real easy. $17.76, and that patch is actually a little bit cleaner, and it loaded real easy, in case I forgot to mention that. But yeah, that's actually a lot cleaner than that previous patch. I find that interesting, but the numbers are not all that great. $18.01. Well, I found that patch. It's not all that bad. It's really not. And in case I forgot to mention, it loaded real easy also. But yeah, as this patch is drying out, I'm being able to see beyond the fouling. It's pretty clean. All right, get another number. Just a note for myself, and also in case anybody is interested, I was able to push that load all the way down to where it actually set on top of that powder charge. I find that kind of interesting. $17.77. Well, I found that patch, and it's pretty clean, a little shredded. It's pretty clean. I'm liking the group that I'm seeing besides that first shot. So I'll show the target close up when I get into the shop and give you my overall view and feeling about salt cedar. All right, I'm going to get you one more number. Load number 6, and I didn't have to work to get it on top of the powder. That's pretty much on top of the powder right there. And the previous rounds I loaded with that steel ramrod. The last shot right here, I wanted to make sure how my wooden ramrod felt, and it felt pretty good. So you can see I'm already there. So for me, that's a little impressive because I thought it was going to be dirtier than this, but it's proving not to be. And I'll show you the target at the end. I already mentioned that. And I'll get you one more number, and then we'll figure out what all of this really represents. So in case you didn't hear it, flash in the pan, so I had to vent pick it. So that's number 6, and the vent hole was plugged. what is it, 1806? Yep, 1806. That patch hit the screen. Good thing I have that on the front of my chronograph, and it's pretty clean. Other than having to prick that touch hole, that indicates it was clean, or cleaner, I should say. All right, I'm going to mark the target, pack everything away, and I'll meet you in the shop. So first, I want to say happy 250th birthday to the United States of America. And what better way to celebrate that than to do some testing with homemade black powder through a flintlock. Nothing speaks independence more than shooting through a flintlock as far as I'm concerned. You may be interested in knowing the ending time was 9:35, so you can appreciate that I started much earlier than what I normally do, and that may account for these numbers. I'm not saying for sure it does, but it may. And the ending temperature was 87 degrees, so you can appreciate why I wanted to get out and kind of get this done before it got too much hotter. And the breeze is supposed to kick up to about 50 mile an hour later today, so I was really in a hurry to get this done. But you may be curious to know right now, the 5-shot average was 1784 with a spread of 46. Now I know it's not the most fastest or powerful gunpowder that I've made, but hey, at 1786 compared to some of the more powerful ones, which one makes you more dead, right? It's more than adequate enough for, you know, taking game as far as I'm concerned. And I know, you know, with that low spread, that's encouraging also, especially if I were to take this to a rendezvous and compete with it. I know earlier I kind of hinted that I might have regretted making, you know, 200 grams of this stuff, but after the last shot and showing everybody that I was able to push that final shot all the way down to the top of the powder, to me that's fairly clean gunpowder, with the exception of that one charge that I did have to prick. Okay, would I take this to a rendezvous and compete with it? 100% yes, just simply because of the low spreads and because it's fairly clean. And when I do compete these days, it's out of that little 45. That's percussion, and shooting this out of a percussion rifle, you're not going to have the ignition problems that you would with a flintlock, or at least you shouldn't have. At least you shouldn't have, and typically you don't. So again, it's a fairly clean burning powder. I like the way the patches looked. I like the spread, and maybe later in the summer I might get out and try this again more towards the daytime time that I normally shoot at. But here's the target. There's shot number 1, and then the other 5 shots are right here, obviously. So it grouped pretty good. I'm not complaining about the group, and I'm not blaming that on the powder, just simply because, as I just mentioned, it's earlier in the morning than when I normally shoot, and that sun reflecting off that front sight, obviously, in my opinion, made the ball print a little bit more to the right. I'm not blaming that on the powder, because if it was the powder, guys, it'd be all over the place, okay? So that powder is pretty consistent, and the fact that it's only got a spread of 46 feet per second should help everybody see that, okay? So, one other thing regarding salt cedar, my friend Broken Feather, he made some black powder with the same salt cedar from the same tree, same branch. All of that was the same. There's a little bit of difference in milling time. His milled extremely fast. Mine took quite a while before it started pucking real tight, as I mentioned previously in the video. But he did record his shooting with this, so as soon as he gets that edited and to me, I'll be putting it up on this channel, so you'll have something to compare with, you know, from further south than where I am and a little higher elevation here. So you can be looking forward to that. I guess with that, I've got a gun to go clean, so I'm going to wrap this up before it gets too much hotter in here, before I start sweating profusely. So I want to thank everybody for watching this, and I hope that you gleaned something about salt cedar or tamarisk. Here in New Mexico, it is a very invasive tree. Would I make gunpowder out of it again if I didn't have any other choices? Absolutely, I would. I would just bump it up to maybe 90 grains per weight, see what that volume is, and I could probably get this consistently in the 1800s. So that's not half bad. So I want to thank everybody for watching this, and if you glean something from it, give it a thumbs up and share it with your bestest of buds, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.